Hello YouTube and welcome to Prime Productions. I'm here to help enhance your tabletop gaming experience. If you're new to this channel, I primarily focus on Paizo tabletop role-playing games like Pathfinder and Starfinder. And if you want to help me out, I have a Patreon and Discord, more info at the end of the video. So it's that time again. Every month, Paizo puts out a live stream called Paizo Live. Here they talk about their upcoming projects, they hype new things coming down the pipeline, and do all that sort of stuff. You can find these videos on Twitch, link in the description below, but I like to do a brief summary of them for those who don't want to sit through a 1.5 hour live stream on Twitch with a bunch of advertisements, so here we go. Now before we get started, listen. Writing and editing a script and doing video editing, it all takes time. If I want to get these summaries out in a timely manner, this is going to have to be an unscripted video without a whole lot of interesting things to look at. I'm sorry. This is just going to be a quickie video where I may have a few ums or uhs and I may misspeak. And to reiterate, link to the full official video will be in the description below. Now, this Paizo Live was special as all three sections kind of tied into each other. You'll figure out what that means here in a second. Basically, they are announcing a new beginner box. This is in addition to the game night box that's Dawn of the Frogs. This is an entirely new adventure made to onboard people into Pathfinder. Then there will be a level 2 to 5 module coming out that is designed to lead on from this new beginner box. It's like set in the same place and everything. And then they finally announced the third adventure path that will be showing up in 2026. And this adventure path carries on from the module. Together, this is essentially a 3-product line that offers a seamless level 1 to 14 campaign, all set in Ustalov. Now, if you're wondering, yes, I did say third adventure path for 2026. The first 2 adventure paths for 2026 have already been named. They are Hellbreakers, which is a 1 to 10 adventure path that involves Andoran fighting Cheliax. And then there's going to be an 11 to 20 adventure path that, ends that line. Anyway, after the initial banter that starts every Paizo Live, they got into it. However, during the initial banter, they did say a few things. Firstly, they said that they visited PAX Unplugged and they wanted to say thank you to all the fans that talked to them there. They also talked about how they will donate some of their products to libraries and schools and whatever else as a part of an outreach program. So if you work at a public high school or a middle school like I do, or at a library, you can actually talk to Paizo and see if they'll send you a few books to get people started playing Pathfinder. But now we move into the first section, the new beginner box. So if you don't know, Paizo does have a beginner box that runs you through one level with some pre-gens, and it very slowly introduces how to play Pathfinder. There's a combat, and then there's a more interesting combat, and then they start introducing enemies that have resistances and weaknesses, and then they introduce skill checks. It goes on and on and on. I've actually run several people through the original beginner box, and it's okay, but it's a little clunky and it doesn't quite work, and the last fight in the box set just kills everybody. It TPKs whole parties repeatedly, so it's not great. In this new beginner box, they said they learned a lot of new stuff, and they're working on ways to make a better beginner box. This beginner box is called The Secrets of the Unlit Star, and it takes place in a temple called the Unlit Star, and it is in Ustalov, which, if you don't know, is basically Fantasy Transylvania. Again, it teaches Pathfinder step by step, but this new adventure path is less linear. They did talk about how there's a lot of iconic monsters in there, like a sea hag. There will be social encounters in this adventure path, which there wasn't really in the original beginner box. One of the social encounters involves Gorky, a Leshy that sells potions, and you can see him on screen. He's pretty cute. They also said that there are some new adventurers. It was a little unclear if these new adventurers are the Iconics or if they're not. They mentioned the Iconics, but then they also showed this image of definitely not the Iconics. But the new adventure path will have a bard, barbarian, monk, and sorcerer instead of the original adventure path, which had fighter, rogue, cleric, and wizard. There's a bunch of fun monsters that are shown on screen. Some are new, some are from other sources like Howl of the Wild. And this new beginner box leads directly into that module, Trouble in Grace, which is actually the second section. So, Troubles in Grace can lead on from the beginner box, or you can just start playing it at level 2 and make new level 2 characters if you want. Grace is the name of a town. Again, it's in Ustalov. This is similar to the Troubles in Otari module, which I have also run people through. The basics is that there is a town that is your home base, and you have to run around solving the town's troubles. and, level up and stuff. Troubles in Otari does it. Troubles in Grace is going to follow a similar idea. However, Troubles in Grace is a little bit different because there are 2 level 2 adventures, 2 level 3 adventures, and 2 level 4 adventures. And each adventure gives you roughly 1 level. So you can run through half the game and level up to level 4 and get ready to go do something else. Or you can, if you want, slow roll it and have each adventure give you only half of a level, and then you get to play through everything. So it's up to you. They said that this should be fun for veteran and new players alike, and they did give out the titles of all 6 of these adventures. They are the Path River Peeler, Sabotage, A Hunger Below, The Disgraced Dollmaker, Sweet Tooth, which includes the image of people turning into gingerbread, and this gingerbread hag, I guess? Sweet Hag. Sweet Hag is what they were called. And then the final adventure is called Count of Petals. They did warn that since there are different writers for each adventure, they did accidentally include a large number of gremlins in these adventures, so watch out for that. They also talked about undead bugbears, and they showed some of the NPC images for the people that live in Grace. I'll put those on screen too. Alright, third and final section. Remember, this is the adventure path. It's going to be the 3rd adventure path released in 2026, and it's called the Bastion of Blasphemies. It is a level 5 to roughly 14-ish adventure path, and it leads on from Troubles in Grace, but of course, if you want to make new level 5 characters and start playing this adventure path from there, you can totally do that if you want. Now remember, starting next year, adventure paths are going to come out roughly once every 3 months, and each adventure path is now self-contained. It'll be 1 hardcover book instead of 3 to 6 softcover books. Anyway, this adventure path takes place solely in Bastard Hall in Ustalav. Bastard Hall is a massive haunted castle on an Ustalavic island. The entire adventure path is one massive dungeon crawl where the party is stuck on that island, and the island is then shifted into a demiplane so the players cannot get out until they complete the adventure. And they said that this is very Castlevania inspired. Now, there is a small town on the island that the players can help revitalize so that they can shop and upgrade equipment, and we'll talk about how that works in a second. By the way, they talked about how this is the first adventure path where it is a mega dungeon that has been talked about before. Bastard Hall was in Pathfinder 1st Edition, but it hasn't been fully explored, and this is that adventure path. If you're wondering why it's another mega dungeon, those sell well, and Paizo's a company, they gotta make money. Anyway, so the story behind the adventure path is that every 100 years, a ghostly figure rides out from Bastard Hall, kidnaps a bunch of people, and then rides back, and then those people are never seen again because, he doesn't show up for another 100 years. This happened 5 to 7 years ago in-game, so people thought they were safe, but they were wrong. Something new was happening. They said it's very Castlevania-inspired, like I said, but also very Dark Souls-inspired. There's also, interestingly, a video game-esque collection subsystem where if you collect, say, all these special pieces of artwork, it unlocks a special thing. And there are at least 3 sets of collectibles, and if you collect all of the sets, then you get the secret good ending for the game. If you don't do all that but complete the adventure path, you still escape Bastard Hall, but if you want it the true ending, then you have to collect all the collectibles, which is, it's pretty interesting. I like it. They did show off some artwork like these killer dolls and the Ghoul-rilla, a ghoul gorilla. Yeah, they made that joke. And they also showed off the map for Chapter 1, and the large blank section is the interior of the castle. And yes, each of those squares is 5 feet, so that is a huge map. And of course, like every Paizo Live, they had an end-of-stream wrap-up. They did answer a few questions that I wanted to highlight. They did say that the beginner box does have a little mini single-person style adventure game where you can learn the rules by yourself. It apparently involves one character going through a haunted house. They did talk about the Bastard Hall villager level-up mechanic. Villagers in Bastard Hall are basically ghosts, and you can rescue their spirit, and then that materializes them in the village, and then they can help you out. They can also then send you on quests, which increases their abilities and lets them help you out more. So you can't rob the shopkeep for his goods because he's a ghost, and when you pay him money, he just materializes goods for you. So that's a pretty interesting way to prevent problem players from just killing the shopkeep and stealing all their stuff. I like it. They did say that in the game you find a soul heart, which increases an NPC's rank and ability to do stuff, but also increases the entire party's HP maximum. A fun little mechanic and reference to Castlevania, because in Castlevania, hearts are your life, so that's pretty nice. Anyway, that's all I had to say for today. As a reminder, I have a Patreon. I'm going to try and post something fun there once a month, but honestly, it's just a way to help keep this channel financially viable. For less than the cost of a cup of coffee a month, you can help me buy new equipment and keep this channel running. And of course, I also have a Discord. I would love to see you drop by. Link to that in the description below too. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That tells not only me, but also YouTube that you like this kind of content and would like to see more. And until next time, thank you, good luck, and happy gaming!